He's Jeff Van Gundy from the Mothership. He'll join Mark Jackson, Ryan Ruocco, calling tonight's Mavs-Suns game. That's at 10 Eastern on ESPN. The earlier game, the Lakers visit the Celtics. Mike Breen-Dorsberg and Cassidy Hubbard will be providing the coverage of that as Jeff joins us on the show. Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
Still makes me laugh every time you say Mothership. I'm doing good.
Well, I was wondering about, as a coach, what's the earliest you think you can get an assessment of how good you think your team is going to be during the season?
Or how bad. I would say you don't want to underreact, nor do you want to overreact. So I think you try to give yourself a quarter of the season in or around, 20 games. But now it's so hard, Dan, because there's so many people that sit games out for injuries or for personal reasons that it's a lot harder to get a gauge of what you have because you never have your team.
When do you think will be a fair starting point to assess the Lakers?
Well, I think when James gets back and he plays, 10 games, and I also think because James has been out, people have overlooked Kendrick Nunn being out. Kendrick Nunn will be a huge addition to their group. Mm-hmm. Defensive intensity, some speed and quickness, which they lack throughout their roster. So I think when James and Nunn get back and you see what they have, and if you see, how are they going to play with Westbrook, Davis, Carmelo Anthony, and James, and how they fit around those four guys. And then I would suspect they're probably going to stick with Anthony Davis for a majority of minutes at the 5. I think then you're going to know, are they a good team, a really good team, or a championship level team?
What do you do with the Russell Westbrook style? If you want to modify, slow down, change, or can you at this stage?
No, I think, Westbrook, for better or for worse, is committed to his style of play. And I don't think you're going to change somebody's strengths at this, at this age. His strengths will remain his strengths. His non-strengths will remain their non-strengths. And I think what you want to do is maximize his strengths, try to minimize or hide the non-strengths. And I think what's really interesting is how they're going to go about, okay, when James has the ball or James and Davis are in pick and roll, what do you want Westbrook to do? Do you want him to spot up and attack? Do you want him to spot up and shoot? Because he will be open. That's where teams are going to give support from defensively. And I think for the Lakers, they just have to decide what they think gives them their best chance. And I think when Westbrook commits, even though it leads to some turnovers, to attacking on the second side when he's on the weak side, I think he creates some good things. And I think they need that sort of thrust to the basket.
Would you want to coach him right now?
You know what, Dan, when I interviewed for the Rockets job when he was still a member of the Rockets, and this was in the pandemic, and I wanted to speak to both Harden and Westbrook. Harden didn't make himself available. Westbrook did. And I had the best conversation with a player that I didn't know at all when I coached Westbrook. When I talked to Westbrook, I should say. He was so forthright in what he thought, how he saw himself, his place in the game. I really appreciated his directness and his honesty, because sometimes in those situations it's easier to, if you don't know somebody, just be sort of cliche-ish and more passive-aggressive. And I really appreciated I've always appreciated who Westbrook is off the floor. He does so many remarkable things. But in that one conversation I had, maybe it was like a 45-minute to an hour conversation, I just really appreciated his directness, and he was, I don't want to say appreciative of my directness, but I think he liked direct talk and straightforwardness. So it was a great conversation. And again, you don't know someone until you coach them, so it'd be impossible for me to answer your question. But I think from that conversation, I would have enjoyed being around him.
How do you not take Harden not wanting to talk to you as, like, do you take it personally that he doesn't want to talk to you?
Well, I don't know if he didn't want to just talk to me. I don't know if he wanted to participate in
Okay.
in the process. Maybe he already knew he wanted out. I don't know. But I just, that's not a knock on Harden. He can do what he wants. But I just appreciated Westbrook's time and his forthrightness very, very much.
We're talking to Jeff Van Gundy. He's with Mark Jackson, Ryan Ruocco. They got the Mavs and the Suns coming up tonight. Is Luka going to play?
They listed him as that doubtful, so I would say not. Which, he came here to see Luka and Booker and Paul, all the greatness, and it's a bummer when you don't get that. But I thought the Mavericks held up well on Wednesday. They just didn't have enough offense down the stretch when Phoenix turned it up.
I think Steve Kerr, one of his toughest jobs this year, Coach, is trying to come up with new ways to describe Steph Curry's greatness.
Yeah, he should not be able to. I think, Dan, what you should throw down the gauntlet, he cannot use the same adjective all year. So if you start with superb, you've got to come up with something else the next game.
Okay.
Because I think that would be as interesting as watching. Like, I think people are so used to now seeing Curry take and make, like, these impossible three-point shots from distance, defensive pressure, like that we've become, like, almost numb to how great this is. This is something that I can easily say will never be replicated. The movement off the ball, the ability to shoot, against great defense, be able to shoot on the move, off the dribble. Like, he has completely revolutionized the game, and we're never going to see something like this. So we better appreciate it.
Well, I wondered, and I sometimes overstate my love for Steph Curry just because I understand that range, shooting like that, and if you're not necessarily quick or big or strong, can't jump, but he's changed the game. How many players in the history of the sport can you say have truly changed the game?
Well, you're right. Just a handful, because there's been, like, so many great players. But, see, I think Curry's a better athlete than people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
The hand-eye coordination, the agility, the balance, the rhythm. As you know, Dan, as a great shooter, the rhythm to that shot, to be able to get it up with the soft touch from that distance, you can't be anything other than a great athlete to do that. So he's changed the game. And a lot of guys try to emulate how he plays. And oftentimes you see just god-awful shots being shot in the NBA because they're shooting Steph Curry shots that only, he should be allowed to shoot. So it's not equal opportunity to take the shots he takes because only he can make them at the efficiency level that he does.
You're the head coach. I'm going to give you Steph Curry's career, everything that's gone on, KD's career, everything that's gone on, and then you get them the rest of their career as well. Who do you want?
See, like, you're like my wife trying to give me, like, box me in and make people hate me. Like, how about this, Dan? You pick first and I'll take second. And I don't care who you pick because I'm going to be really happy with my pick.
I never knew you would back away. I mean, Dwayne Wade answered it.
Who do you take?
No, you answer, and then I'll tell you who he took.
No, you're not gonna. No, I'm not married to you. Only my wife can box me in like
Okay,
that. No.
he took Steph Curry, and I took Steph Curry as well.
Okay, well then to balance it out, I'll take Durant
All right.
because if you guys want, like, it's a reasonable like. How can you not want to coach Steph Curry? Think about what Steve Kerr got. He got them both, like
Yeah.
in their prime. That should be illegal. I mean, I watched Durant this year, because we've talked so much about how great Curry is. But I watched Durant this year when I was a part of the Olympic team. I'd never really been around him. I'd actually been around him 2 times in my career. The Olympic team, when I watched him work out, Dan, I was like, this guy's a machine. His work, he didn't need a coach there. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He worked at a pace that was game-like, which is unusual. A lot of guys stay out on the court a long time but don't get a lot accomplished. Durant was just the opposite. He was 20, 25 minutes, full speed, every repetition, and it didn't hurt that the ball always goes in the basket, right? So, and then the other time was when I was coaching the Rockets, and stop me if I've told you this, but we had training camp at the University of Texas, and it turns out to be Durant's only year in college. So we're down there in early October, and we go to our first practice, and it's a 10 o'clock practice. We got there at 9. I have no idea who this kid is on the floor, but he is going through a workout like full speed. Okay. He looks like a talented young guy. I have no idea what his name is. We practice. He's there the whole time. Then after we're getting off the court and milling around before we leave, he comes back on the court and works again. We come back before our second practice that day at 6. He's on the court. He then watches us practice, and then he comes back on the court again after. He did that the whole week we were there. I'm like, this guy is an absolute machine. I learned his name. I mean, now, I don't know when the heck his classes were, but I know when we were there for those 7 days, I have never seen a guy work like that. It was impressive. And you know what? How many ever years it is later, 17 years later or whatever it is, he was doing the same exact thing in a shorter amount of time on courts in Japan. And it was, he loves the game. He's improved with his passing, his handle. And, I mean, literally an impossible guy to guard. And so right now, you got Curry, you got Jokic, and you got Durant, and they are all having these incredible years.
Has anybody broached the topic with you of an NFT? The picture thing the NBA is doing where you're holding on to Alonzo Mourning's leg, and you could sell that, and people are paying big money for these NBA moments. But I
don't know what that means. What does that mean? Like, isn't the picture out there? Anybody could have it if they wanted it. I don't know why you'd want it, but
McLevin, explain NFT to Coach.
So the people involved have exclusive rights, and the picture is out there, but you can have ownership of exclusive rights to it. Basically, you can limit the supply. You're the only one who has the official Jeff Van Gundy, Alonzo Mourning leg photo.
Oh, well, that's what a great moment to try to own my temporary insanity. See, that's as stupid as what I proposed the other day to Mark Jackson. So think if this makes any business sense to you, Dan. You're a business guy.
Right.
I saw that the Lakers, the Staples Center, changed their name to Crypto.com, right?
Yeah.
And they got paid this huge amount. What if I changed my name, legal, to Crypto.com or Taco Bell, let's say? And so Mike Breen, when he comes on the air, says, "I'm here. This is Mike Breen with Mark Jackson and Taco Bell." Do you think they would pay me $2.5 million a year to change my legal name?
Yes.
Let's get it done.
Because like tonight, let's say Ryan Ruocco introduces, Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Crypto.
Yes. Or Coach Crypto.
Yes.
I'll go like Coach Prime, like Deion Sanders. Coach Crypto.
Yes. I think there's money to be made there.
See, and I think all broadcasters should change their name, legal name, and then put it on their legal name could go on their jacket. Because how can the mothership say I can't put my legal name on my jacket, right? When they come to an on camera. I was thinking about that even, Dan. This is how lonely you get in the hotel room. How about, the name, image, and likeness for college? What if all those players just legally changed their name to, at center, Taco Bell, at forward, McDonald's, Wendy's is your point guard.
And at quarterback, Arby's.
Yes. What? I think that's how, if I became a college coach, I'd have all my kids change their legal names. And then, change them back when you go to the NBA or into the real world, So, yeah, I think I'm on to something. Better than the Lonzo Mourning temporary insanity where I looked like a fool and I deserve to be beaten. They should have stopped the game right there and dropped a ring down and made me and Mourning fight and just have Mourning just pummel me, for my coming on the court.
Did you ever talk to Alonzo Mourning about that, where you're holding on to him like a ball and chain?
No, you know what? Back in those times, we played the Heat 4 straight years in the playoffs, and they went to the final game all 4 years. And so, in the regular season games, we played 4 times a year, and they were just brutal. So, you develop this sense of dislike. I mean, my brother was on the other staff, and I'm not so keen on him during the weeks we're playing Miami, right? So the Mourning thing happens, and I have never spoken to Mourning in my life, and so the next year I just was fortunate enough to be the All-Star team coach, and I'm dreading having to coach, Mourning in the All-Star game because you're going to have to talk to him, A, and B, he's going to have to you're going to have to say something about being a clown holding on to his leg. And so I was so grateful. We were heading out to media day, and I hadn't seen him yet. And he came behind me and grabbed me and hugged me from behind. I didn't know who it was, and it was him. And he broke the ice, and he was so I don't know what the word would be, but he was just so nice, about the whole thing, where he could have made me feel even worse than I already did about what I did. So I'll be forever grateful for his kindness in that moment. And then after the game, it took me about 12 minutes to get back to my anti-Heat hatred.
Have fun tonight there, Crypto. And that'll be the Mavs and the Suns. That'll be at 10 Eastern on the Mothership. Great to talk to you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
All right, Dan. Take care.
He's got a lot of downtime on the road. But, yeah, Jeff Van Crypto. I like it.